Okay, today we will start discussing Othello. Do you have any question concerning Macbeth before I proceed?
Sorry, doctor, just a little bit of such a question, if you please.
Okay, go on.
Concerning the, just take as a roundup concerning the tragic flaw and the noble cause of with Macbeth, please.
Okay. You have a question about the tragic flaw of Macbeth?
The noble cause, definitely. Of course, everything is clear and we can really sum it up in our own language. But just I want your own deep summing up for such a noble cause and a tragic flaw.
Okay, the noble cause is to be a king. Okay, so Macbeth has the cause of becoming the king of Scotland. Okay, so this is a noble cause, and we know that the king, according to the Elizabethans, is God's image on earth. So that's yes. So that's why his cause is a noble cause, but he doesn't follow legal steps to become the king of Scotland. Okay, so his tragic flaw is that he doesn't allow reason to control his life. Okay? Now, in the play, we read that Macbeth is a highly ambitious man. Of course, he is ambitious. But his tragic flaw at the psychological level is the fact that his life, or he allows his life to be controlled by the id. So his life is not controlled by the ego. At the very beginning of the play, Macbeth emerges as a noble character. He is a captain in the army. He is a noble man. Everyone trusts him. So at the beginning of the play, his life is controlled by the ego. So he behaves in ways that are acceptable to the society. So that's why he is a noble character. His noble cause is to be a king. It's fine. But his tragic flaw is that he surrenders to the faculty of imagination. Okay? So he ranks the imagination above reason. So he doesn't think about the consequences of the crime that will lead him to the crown. Okay? So at the very beginning, the superego is active. It tries to draw his attention to the consequences of the crime. That's why he thinks about the punishment that he will have on earth as well as the punishment that he will have in heaven. But his id maintains control over his superego and pushes him forward to killing the king. So in this case, he is controlled by his animalistic drives, by his animal faculty, whereas the thinking faculty of Macbeth is switched, it is turned off. So this is his tragic flaw. And you have to elaborate on how Macbeth's tragic flaw is related to imagination. So it reduces him, it degrades him to the level of animals, and he behaves as an animal living in the jungle. So in this case, the state has become a state of nature. So it is no longer a symbol of the social order. So he has reduced the kingdom to a primitive world. He has reduced the kingdom to a primitive world where animals fight each other. And he emerges as the strongest animal in the play. And in this case, he emerges as the Machiavellian ruler. He is a ruler who rules by cunning and force, as Machiavelli maintains in his book, The Prince. Okay? So he emerges as a Machiavellian ruler. So in this case, you focus on everything that is related to the reduction of the state to a state of nature. Now, his understanding emerges at the end of the play. Okay, so at the end of the play, he realizes that everyone has a role to play in this universe. Macbeth has not played the role that has been assigned to him, or the role that he has been born to fulfill. So he has assumed a wrong role, which is the role of the king. So that's why at the end, he is destroyed. Okay, of course he should be destroyed because the tragic hero should be destroyed. So in this case, a better king takes over from Macbeth. So Macbeth as a king strips himself, deprives himself of all the Christian values that characterize the English or the Scottish ruler in this case. Malcolm, as I said at the end of the play, is the king whose life is controlled by the 7 virtues of Christianity. Okay? So it seems that, as I told you, Shakespeare approves of a king whose life is controlled by the precepts of Christianity. That's why Macbeth is destroyed at the end. Macbeth is controlled by the 7 deadly sins. He is avaricious, he is greedy, he has committed many crimes, he violated one of the 10 commandments. Okay, he is accused of covetousness. Yes, he covets the king, his job as a king, so that's why he kills him in order to become the king. So this is the kind of covetousness. It means envy. And covetousness means that a person wants to have what other people have. Okay, so this is also one of the 7 deadly sins. And that's why Macbeth at the end is punished. He is punished on earth as well as, okay, if you want, he may end up in hell, because at the end of the play, he doesn't repent his sins. Okay, he doesn't confess his sins to a priest so that he will be absolved of the sins that he has committed. And the same applies to Lady Macbeth. Okay, so here we have the noble cause to be a king, and we know that the king, according to the Elizabethan age, is God's image on earth, and his duty is to maintain order on earth just as God maintains order at the celestial level. His tragic flaw is that he believes in imagination. Okay, and here you have to elaborate on how imagination, okay, as I said before, imagination is an animal faculty, according to philosophers, and man shares this faculty with animals. So what distinguishes man from animals is the thinking soul, i.e. the mind. Okay, so we have the vegetative soul that leads us to get nutrients. We have the animal soul that gives us the energy to act, to function, and we have the thinking soul which should control our behavior. So the thinking soul is the highest faculty of the human soul according to the philosophers. Okay, so Macbeth turns off the faculty of thinking and has his life controlled by imagination, i.e. by an animal faculty. Is it clear?
Very clear, Doctor. So thankful. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Any more questions? Okay, now Othello is the last play that we will discuss in this course because we don't have enough time. We are still left with 3 more lectures, okay? So we may need to take a make-up session. So we will talk about the make-up session later on. Okay, if we don't need a make-up session, we will not have a make-up session. Okay, so Othello is one of the main tragedies of Shakespeare, and as I said at the beginning of the semester, the 4 main tragedies of Shakespeare are Hamlet, which you have studied before, King Lear, Macbeth, Othello, and King Lear is considered one of the most important works of world literature. And according to critics, King Lear ranks among the Bible, the Iliad, the Odyssey, and many other great works of world literature. Okay? So
Doctor, are you still here?
I can't hear him too. I think
I think he is gone. يمكن connection problem.
I think so. Bonjour Najib.
Good morning.
Good morning حبيبي. Hi guys, good morning. بدي أسألكم إذا حدا بيعرف إمتى الإكزامز تاعونا، متأكدين بتعرفوا إمتى بالضبط؟ هم بيقولوا
المفروض 5
إنه
جولاي.
بأول تموز. أول تموز
يا أول
الفصل
تموز
السادس؟
يا أول تموز يا 5 جولاي حسب
يس
التعبئة.
بالضبط. اوكي طيب شو بالنسبة للمواد اللي مثلا اللي راحوا علينا قبل مثل التافل مثلا؟
ما هو المواد اللي هلا حنقدمها.
حكى شي دكتور زياد أو حدا بهالموضوع؟
لا بس القرار واضح من زمان، كان ب1 تموز، وإذا في تعبئة بصير ب5 أو شي هيك.
بس حرام، في ناس عندها مثلا 8 مواد، هيدي كيف بدها تلحق 9 مواد مثلا؟
كيف ما بدنا نلحق؟ في
لا
فحوصات
نحن
اوريدي
كيف
انعملت.
نعمل اللي فضلوا من السمستر اللي قبل وب15
بالضبط، ما فهمت صح.
كيف؟
نعمل فحوصات القدم اللي بعد ما خلصناهم
اوكي
تبع هالسمستر، مش معروف اي متى، بيجي
كم
ايلول بتشرين، ما حدا بيعرف، دكاترة ما بيعرفوا.
يعني امتحانات الفصل السادس مش بتموز، مش على الأكيد بتموز؟
بلا
لا مش معروف اي متى، لا ما قالوا القدماء بتموز، تبع هلا ما حدا بيعرف.
انت متأكد من امتحانات بس أول ما نخلص القدم قالوا بس نخلص تاعو الفيرست سيمستر بعد 1 ويك بيبعتونا 1 ويك بيرجعوا بيعملوا لنا تاعو السكند سيمستر.
مزبوط، ورا بعضهم هني رح يكونوا.
يا حبيبي
معقول ورا بعض؟ ما بعرف، ما بحس.
قالوا حيعطونا
بطلع هيك قالوا، بس
حتى
سمستر
ينام.
5 كل أسبوع أول سمستر رح نبلش دغري بتاني سمستر.
طيب
في
طلع قرار
الموضوع هيك بس.
طيب
سلوى
طلع قرار
كيفك؟
بهالشي؟ الحمد لله حبيبتي، كيفك انت؟
تمام الحمد لله تمام.
الحمد لله. هلا طلع قرار باللي عم تحكوا فيه، يعني طلع تصريح رسمي او بعد؟
هلا
ايه
رسم
طلع
الجامعة بعد 100 سنة طلعوا قرار قديم، بس هلا لازم يرجعوا يجددوه again، بس مفروض
هيدا أنا
ب5 تموز ختمه.
القدما يعني ب5 تموز نبلش ندرس قدما ولا جديد؟ مش عم بفهم. بعيد الله.
هلا لنوقف اونلاين بتبلشي بالقدمة. بدك
لحق
احنا
علي
بدك احنا عم ندرس
شكسبير.
القدمة، بدك احنا عم ندرس القدمة نلحق عنده شيء من الجداد، صار
هاي
مشكلة.
الفكرة شكسبير لحاله بده بعين الله. حدا يحكي الدكتور، حرام، شوف شو صار له، وينه يعني. جايز انتوا سمعتوا من شي دكتور انه
بيكون
ورا بعض
connection problem.
شو؟ سمعتوا من شي دكتور انه رح يكونوا الاكزامز ورا بعض تبع
لا انا قريت التصريح اللي كان طالع يمكن شيء هيك منزلينه تعميم انه استئناف الامتحانات او شيء هيك بده يبلشوا الامتحانات ب1 تموز. رجعوا طلعوا قرار انه بسبب التعبئة العامة يمكن يصير في ل5 تموز او 15 مش عارفة.
بالضبط
صح نجيب هيك شيء صح.
5 تموز.
لا عم بحكي بخصوص
من كم يوم قالت لنا الدكتور هند سليم انه عن هذا القرار مزبوط، انه حنوقف في 22 تموز شرح دروس تبع هذا السمستر، حناخد بهيدا الوقت عطلة لندرس للسمستر الأول، 1 تموز حنبلش الامتحانات السمستر الأول دغري وراه بنكفي امتحانات السمستر.
نفس الشيء قالت لنا دكتور يسرا، لانه مشلين سالتها قالت لها انه ان شاء الله ما يطولوا لحتى نعمل تاني هيدا السمستر. قالت لها لا المفروض بس يخلصوا، لانه نحن عنا بس مادتين، بس في عندك مجالات كليات تانية عندها اكتر من مادتين. ما بعرف اي فرع قالوا عامل بس ماده واحده، يمكن علم النفس او شيء هيك، ما بعرف. فبدهم ينطروا يخلصوا كل الاختصاصات، بيعطوا 1 ويك استراحة، وبيعطوا ساعتها ببلشوا نبلش بتاع آخر سمستر. ما هي الفكرة وين؟ لأنه كل اختصاص رح يروح يعمل امتحاناته لحال، فهي الشغلة رح تاخد وقت مش مثل الأوقات العادية.
وهلا مزبوطة شغلة انه 4 بالصف هيكونوا بس ولا هي
مش
مسخرة
4 لا هي الفكرة مش 4، هي الفكرة في التباعد الاجتماعي، هو يمكن مترين،
هو
فهن
2.5
بعدين
متر.
اوكي هن عامله حسابهم، انا حسب ما
يعني
قريت
تقريبا
بتكون في
نص عدد
طاولتين، يعني
الأيام
طاولة
العادية.
مثلا بتأتي على طاولتين ممنوع يقعد عليهم حدا، عرفتي كيف؟
يا مشحرة إذا فرع الإنجليزي لحاله فيه مدري كم طالب وما
هي الفكرة، عرفتي كيف؟ ما هن هذه الفكرة اللي عم يواجهوها، إنه رح يعملوا كل فرع لحال، ورح يضطروا يفتحوا. عادة نحن بنعمل بس بالبلوك بي، رح يفتحوا البلوك A والبلوك B الثاني فيهم يعملوا الامتحانات.
بس إني كمان شفت المبنى اللي فيه المكتبة اللي حد الجامعة دغري، هذه كمان للجامعة. ليه مثلا ما بيعطونا إياه مثلا إنه مستأجرينه، ما إنه مستأجرينه
ممكن ما تستبعدي، ممكن يفتحوا، بس ليك هي الفكرة إنه هوديك الصفوف أصغر بكتير من القاعات اللي نحن عم ناخد فيهم. كتير صغار. أنت ما بعرف أنت ما أخذتي فيهم الانتنسيف؟
لا أنا كنت خالصة انتنسيف لما بلشوا بهيداك
الانتنسيف أخذنا نحن فيه الانتنسيف صفوف صغيرة عادية يعني. مش قاعات قد
هذا الدكتور عم بيقول انه he lost the connection so خلينا نسكت قبل ما يجي. انا بخاف.
انا على فكره انا اوريدي ضايفه، يعني انا خلصتها لشكسبير بس هيك
عندي جاي تعملي صبحيه بعدها. صبايا اطلعوا من هون بدك تفتح صفحه ثاني. اوكي يلا see you.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying that King Lear is one of the major works of world literature. It ranks among the Bible, the Odyssey, the Iliad, and many other great works of world literature. Okay, now Othello is a romantic tragedy. Okay, it deals with the relationship between Othello and his beloved Desdemona. Okay, so that's why it is considered a romance. Okay, there are two types of romance. We have romances that end with the death of the hero and the heroine. So it is called a tragic romance. And there is another type of romance that ends with the marriage of the hero and the heroine. Okay? Now in a romance, two types of women. We have the good woman and we have the evil woman. The good woman helps the hero to achieve his goals. So in any romance, the hero has a certain goal, a certain quest. Okay. Okay.
Sorry,
So the hero, okay,
Othello is a romantic,
tragedy.
yeah, is about the relation between Othello and me.
Didn't read the play.
What?
You not read the play.
Yeah, I didn't read yet.
Hmm?
I didn't read it yet.
What?
Actually, I don't have time, doctor.
You don't have time to read the play? You're majoring in English literature. And you don't have time to read the text that you have to discuss in this course? Okay, Othello falls in love with Desdemona.
Okay, thanks.
Okay?
Yeah.
Lives with him and they get married. Okay? So I said it is a romantic tragedy because it ends with the death of the hero and the heroine. Okay? And I said there are two types of romance. We have a romance that has a happy ending and a romance that has a tragic ending. And I discussed both. Now, in a romance, there are two types of women. There is the good woman and there is the evil woman. The good woman tries to help the hero to achieve his goal. So the hero of the romance has a certain quest. He wants to achieve his quest. So he has a lady who helps him to achieve his goal. And the evil woman is called the femme fatale. Femme fatale. F-E-M-M-E. Fatale, F-A-T-A-L. So it means the fatal woman, i.e. the evil woman. Okay? So the evil woman is called the femme. It tries to seduce the hero. She tries to seduce the hero. She attempts to prevent him from achieving his goal. Okay? Now in Othello, we have a black hero who is called Othello. So Othello is a black major. serving the Venetian state, i.e. he is a major in the Venetian army. And he comes from a noble family, although he is a black man. And according to the play, he comes from a royal family. So this highlights the fact that Othello is a noble character. And one of the requirements of tragedy is that the tragic hero should be a noble person. So Othello, although black, is a noble person. He comes from a royal family. Okay? Now Othello falls in love with Desdemona, the Italian, the Venetian, the European
Sorry,
woman.
doctor.
Yes,
Sorry. I have a question. Why you said although he is black?
he is black
Yeah, what's the problem? Why you said although he is black?
because a certain character in the play represents the European view of black people. The Europeans have a certain prejudice about black people, and Shakespeare in the play subverts this European view of black people. Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so and Orientalist literature portrays black people as oversexed, as animals, as magicians, as people interested in witchcraft. Okay? So this is how Orientalist literature presents the peoples of Africa. And Orientalist literature is the literature, I don't necessarily mean poems and novels. It is also books. It includes books that have been written on Africans and Asians, i.e. on people that don't belong to the West. So Orientalism is, you may write it down because it is very important. Orientalism is the study by the West of the East. This is the meaning of Orientalism. And it means in Arabic al-istishraq. Orientalism is the study by the West of the East. So it means that the West studies the East in order to know how to control the East. And official Orientalism was sponsored by European governments. Okay, so European governments paid for people, for European scholars to write about the East in general. So these people are called Orientalists, and their practices are related to what we call Orientalism. Okay, so these Orientalists portray the peoples of the East, the people of the Orient. Okay, Orient means East, and Orientalism is derived from Orient. Said, S-A-I-D. This is how he spells his name. According to Edward Said, the Westerners studied the East in order to understand the East. And according to Edward Said, this knowledge of the East that the West has acquired is associated with power. Okay? So it gives the Westerners or the European governments the power to control the East. So that's why these Orientalists studied the languages of the Orient, i.e. the languages of African nations and Asian nations. They studied the languages of the Orient. They studied their religions, their societies, their rituals, their everything related to them. Okay? So that's why we call this kind of Orientalism official Orientalism. It is the Orientalism that has been sponsored by the European governments. Okay? So these Orientalists have portrayed black people as creatures who are oversexed, i.e. they have great sexual desires. Are oversexed. They are animals. They are magicians. They are devils. They are evil. They are interested in witchcraft and magic. And all of these attributes that we read in Orientalist literature are used by Iago and by Brabantio, i.e. Desdemona's father, as attributes related to Othello himself. So they view Othello as an African man. He is evil. He is a horse. If you have read at least the first act, he is described by Roderigo, another Italian character in the play, as a black ram, a black sheep, topping a white ewe, i.e. copulating, mating, copulating with a black sheep, i.e. a female sheep. So he views their relationship as an animalistic relationship. Now Shakespeare in the play doesn't seem to be approving of the European view of black people. So that's why I said Othello, though black, is a noble person. Okay? So in the play, Shakespeare embarks on the mission of subverting the European view on the peoples of the East in general, or the peoples of Africa in particular. And at the end of the play, Othello and Desdemona are united in death. What is the significance? What's the significance of their death? Why is Iago the evil European character? Why is Iago arrested at the end of the play? Why is Cassio, another European character, is appointed the governor of Cyprus at the end of the play? All of these have their importance. They have their own bearings on the meaning of that play. Okay? So Shakespeare doesn't portray Othello to present him as a buffoon, i.e. as a source of, or as an object that leads you to laugh. Okay? So he's not a laughable object. Shakespeare presents Othello as a human being who is highly appreciated by Desdemona, the European woman. Othello is appreciated by Cassio, another European character. Othello is appreciated by the dukes and the senators of Venice. So all of these show that, or they show a change in the European view of African people. Okay? So the play at the literal level is a play that deals with the love relationship between a black man and a white woman. Othello kills his wife at the end because Iago leads him to think, to believe that Desdemona is betraying him with Cassio. Okay? So at the literal level, Othello emerges as a jealous person. So he is jealous for his wife. Okay? And his jealousy leads him to kill her. But my own reading of the play that takes into account the elements of black and white, the Orientalist elements that we have in the play, my own view is that Othello's marriage to Desdemona is a marriage of East and West. Okay, so his marriage is a kind of building a family at the domestic level, but at the international level, it is a marriage of the East and the West. So through this relationship, Shakespeare brings the East and the West into a certain kind of relationship, a certain harmonious relationship. So in this case, Othello is presented as a good man, and Desdemona views him as a romantic hero, as a hero in a romance. Okay? So when he talks about the problems, the difficulties, the disasters that he has encountered throughout his life, she realizes that he is her own man, her Prince Charming. Okay? So that's why she falls in love with him. He doesn't bewitch her as her father claims. He doesn't practice magic on her to make her fall in love with him. So she falls in love with Othello the warrior, with Othello the knight K-N-I-G-H-T, the knight that we have in a romance. She falls in love with the human attributes of Othello. So Othello is Desdemona's animus, and I said animus is the soul image of someone. Othello is Desdemona's animus, her own soul image, i.e. something that she appreciates, something that she loves, something that she highly respects. Okay? So that's why the animus, according to Carl Jung, is the soul image of man. So in the case of women, the soul image is called animus, which is a masculine word. And in the case of a male figure, the soul image is called anima, which is a feminine word. So as if the anima is the female that the male falls in love with, and the animus is the male that the female falls in love with. Okay, so Othello is Desdemona's animus. Desdemona is Othello's anima. Okay, you have a question?
Yes. Please, can you tell me the family name of Carl? You said Carl something.
Carl Jung, I have mentioned him before. Jung, J-U-N-G.
Okay, Doctor.
Carl, C-A-R-L. Carl Jung.
Sorry, doctor.
Right. Yes.
One more question. You said that according to your study or your reading of this play, you said that you come to a view that there is a marriage between East and West by the relation of Desdemona and Othello.
Yes, yes.
We can use this view in the exam?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
I test you
Okay.
on the basis of what you have mastered in this course. Okay? So you can't expect me to give you a question that is not related to what I have discussed in class. It means that I am a bad teacher.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, do you test your students on things that you haven't taught before?
No, of course no.
Okay, so the questions are related to what I say in class. So that's why students who don't study my lectures usually, almost all of them fail, because they read York notes, Collier notes, Spark notes, and what have you. And these notes are not professional notes. Okay? So these notes are not written for university students. These notes have been written to school students. Okay? And they mainly deal with plot, story, character sketch, atmosphere, setting, and what have you, but they don't present an in-depth analysis of the plays of Shakespeare. Okay, so if I ask you, let's say, to write on Othello from a Jungian point of view, and you write a summary of the plot, of course you will not pass. Okay, so the plot can be memorized by anyone. Any person who is interested in reading literature may memorize the plot, although he may not be able to come at the philosophical or the symbolic level of the text. Okay, and we know that many people are interested in reading poetry, in reading stories, in reading novels. This doesn't mean that they know how to read, because they don't know how to read between the lines. Okay, and according to T.S. Eliot, the audience of poetry is divided into two groups. One group reads poetry for pleasure, maybe like my grandfather and your grandfathers. They are not educated. They enjoy reading and memorizing poetry. And the second group is made up of the elite, i.e. the educated. So the educated read poetry to understand it, to analyze it, i.e. to read between the lines. And the elite in this case are a minority. Okay? And our duty at university is to teach you how to read between the lines. So it is not our duty to read the play at the literal level in class and to summarize it scene by scene, act by act, and then ask you to memorize these scenes and these acts for the exam. This is not how literature is usually taught. Okay? So here, since I have picked up the subject of the anima and the animus, and the subject of Orientalism, Iago is an evil character. And in this case, Iago represents the shadow. This is another term used by Carl Jung, shadow, S-H-A-D-O-W. Iago represents the shadow of the European character. So the shadow, according to Carl Jung, is the evil side of man's character. Okay? It is the evil side that man suppresses in the unconscious. Okay? So Iago represents the dark side of the European character. Iago at the end is arrested. So this means that the evil side of the European character is destroyed at the end of the play. So in this case, Shakespeare wants to say that Iago should not represent the civilized European man. Because my own reading of the play comes to the conclusion that Iago, although a white man, although a European man, although he is supposed to be a civilized man, is not civilized. Okay? And his language betrays his real nature. Okay? So Iago, as the play presents him, is not a civilized man. And in this case, I base my own judgment on Freud's book, Civilization and its Discontents. Okay? Iago is controlled by his evil by his evil nature. He wants to revenge himself, or to avenge, since we are referring to himself. Iago wants to avenge himself on Othello. So he is controlled by hatred. And hatred is one of the drives that, according to Freud, should be controlled and suppressed in the unconscious if man is to live in a civilized universe. So Iago, from this point of view, is not a civilized man. Cassio is the opposite, is the foil, learn the term, foil, F-O-I-L. Cassio is the foil of Iago, he is the opposite of Iago. Cassio is the European man who appreciates Othello as his own officer. Okay, so Othello is the major, is the leader. Cassio is his lieutenant. And you can say lieutenant. Lieutenant is the British pronunciation of the word. Okay, so Cassio is the white or the European lieutenant of Othello. Iago is Othello's, according to the novel, ancient. And ancient means ensign. Ensign, E-N-S-I-G-N. Okay, ensign, E-N-S-I-G-N. Ensign means an officer of the lowest rank. Okay, so he is inferior to Cassio as a soldier. And the duty of the ensign is to carry the flag. So he is the flag bearer of Othello. And according to the play, Othello, Iago wants to be the lieutenant of Othello, but Othello chooses Cassio. Okay? So Othello doesn't take Iago as his lieutenant, he takes Cassio instead of Iago. So here he wants to revenge or to avenge himself on Othello. So that's why he plans to destroy the man. And by destroying Othello, he causes the destruction of Desdemona at the end. Okay, so this is the literal level of the play. Okay, and at the end, Cassio becomes the governor of Cyprus, because the first act takes place in Venice, in Italy. Okay, now the Duke of Venice and the board of senators send Othello on a mission to Cyprus. They want him to go to Cyprus to face the Ottomans, i.e. the Turks. Now in the play they are called Ottomans, العثمانيين بهذيك الوقت. Ottomans, O-T-T-O-M-A-N-S. Okay, so Othello is sent to Cyprus to face the Ottomans. So the Ottomans, according to the play, constitute a threat to the Venetian dukedom. The Ottomans, according to the play, want to control Cyprus. And Cyprus, according to the play, is controlled or belongs to Venice. So they sent Othello to Cyprus to fight the Ottomans. The war doesn't take place because the Ottoman fleet gets drowned in the sea. So there a storm arises, and the storm leads to the destruction of the Ottoman fleet. And the rest of the action takes place in Cyprus, i.e. Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, Act 5 take place in Cyprus. Okay? So this is the literal level. Now I will go back to okay, I discussed Orientalism. There is no need to go back to this. I discussed Carl Jung's philosophy of personality development. And here I discussed the three aspects of that are related to personality development. Okay, so here we have the shadow, which is the dark side of human life. So in the unconscious, we have the anima or the animus that represents the soul image of man. And we have the persona. Okay, let me introduce the persona. Persona. P-E-R-S-O-N. Now the persona is similar to Freud's ego. It is similar to the ego. Now according to Freud, the ego is the social identity that is acceptable to society. It's fine. So it means that we act in ways that are acceptable to our society. And the persona is the same. It is similar to the ego. It is called the persona, and persona is derived from a Latin word. It means mask. Mask, M-A-S-K. Okay? So this mask represents the social identity that the society approves of. Okay? So in this case, what's his name? Cassio represents the persona. Okay? So Othello is the animus. Desdemona is the anima. Iago is the shadow. Cassio is the persona. So Cassio is the persona of the European character that doesn't discriminate between black and white people on the basis of the color of their skins. Okay? So these are the elements of Carl Jung's philosophy of the aspects of personality development. Okay? We will refer to them as we discuss the play. I will refer to Orientalist literature as we also discuss the play. Now the play is a tragedy. Othello is the tragic hero who has a noble cause. And he has a tragic flaw. And at the end, he achieves a certain kind of understanding. Okay? Now, Othello's noble cause is that he wants to preserve the sanctity of his marriage. Sanctity. Okay? Now, Othello has converted to Christianity. So he's no longer a heathen, i.e. a pagan, as the Europeans view black people. Okay? So according to the play, Othello is a Christian figure. He has converted to Christianity. So he is a Christian man who wants to preserve the sanctity of his marriage. And marriage, according to Christianity, is one of the religious sacraments. This is what they call it in Christianity. Marriage is one of the religious sacraments. S-A-C-R-A-M-E-N-T-S. Sacrament. يعني سر مقدس. Okay? So marriage is something sacred for Christianity. Christians believe that God has united two persons And no one can destroy this union between a man and a woman. So that's why Christianity in general doesn't approve of divorce. This is the reason why divorce is not approved of by the church. Okay, marriage is something sacred. God has united two persons and no one can separate them except God. So divorce in this case means that man is separating a wife and a husband. Okay, now Othello upholds the concept of the sanctity of his marriage. So at the domestic level, i.e. at the level of the family. So at the domestic level, Iago's noble cause is to preserve the sanctity of his marriage. But at the symbolic level, at the metaphorical, philosophical level, Othello's marriage is symbolic of the marriage of the East and the West, of white and black people. Okay? So through Othello, Shakespeare wants to preserve the sanctity of the relationships. He tries to preserve the sanctity of the relationships between all human beings, i.e. all human races. Okay, so Othello's marriage is a symbol of the marriage of black and white, east and west and what have you. Okay, so in this case, Shakespeare in the play aims at creating a human community. Okay, a human community which is neither European nor African, neither white nor. So this is for him. So this marriage is a human issue according to Shakespeare. So this is Othello's noble cause at a symbolic level. His tragic flaw, okay, is that he is jealous. Okay, we know that he is jealous. He is jealous for his wife. It is the meaning of jealous for. Okay, so but his jealousy causes his own destruction. But also at the symbolic level, his tragic flaw is that he doesn't understand the true nature of Iago. He trusts the wrong person. Othello trusts the wrong person. Okay? So the fact that he doesn't understand the evil nature of Iago leads him to his own destruction. And at the end of the play, he says, right of a man who didn't love wisely, but loved too well. Okay, so his love was not controlled by reason, it was controlled by passion. So he was extremely passionate, so that's why he was destroyed at the end of the play. Okay, so at the end, we have, if you want, restoration of order, we have catharsis. Othello's view of uniting the East and the West comes into effect when Cassio becomes the governor of Cyprus. Okay? Now I will go back to romance. So here Othello is a romantic hero. And if you want, you can say that Iago is the femme fatale. So the femme fatale, the evil woman, is presented by a man who is called Iago. Okay, so he plays the role of the femme fatale because he tries to deter, D-E-T-E-R, he tries to deter Othello from achieving his noble cause. So this is Othello. Do you have any question?
Yes, doctor.
You have a question?
Yes, doctor, I have a question.
Okay, go on.
What is Iago noble cause?
Okay, I said of people. Is it clear?
This is Iago's noble cause?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Not at all.
Doctor,
Yes.
she said Iago instead of Othello. Does Iago have a noble cause?
She said Iago.
Yes. Said Iago, not Othello.
Okay, you don't have to be misled by the question. I said Othello is the tragic hero. Okay. So the tragic hero has a noble cause. A villain doesn't have a noble cause. So Iago is a villain. Okay? So if
Yes,
she
that's
said Iago, she has made a mistake. Okay? So the student who asked if she, Khulud, did you say what is Iago's noble cause?
Yes.
How come? You think that an evil character can be a tragic hero? Okay?
I was wondering why you said that Iago had a noble cause.
I said this, okay, I have made a mistake. Why didn't you correct me? If I said Iago has a noble cause, it means that I made a mistake. If I said.
Yes, but we wrote it Othello's, doctor. Don't worry.
Okay. Iago is a villain. He is an evil character. He couldn't be a tragic hero and he doesn't have a noble cause. Okay? So if I make a mistake, correct me. Whenever I make a mistake, I may get distracted. So you may say that, did you say Othello or Iago correct? And you don't need to correct me. You should know that Iago is an evil character. So if I say Iago's noble cause is to preserve the sanctity of his marriage, you should know that I mean Othello. Right? Othello's noble cause. Okay? Iago is a villain. Othello is a noble character. Okay? So we can't have an evil character as a noble hero or as a tragic hero. This is Aristotle's definition of tragedy, and this is his view of the tragic hero. Okay? And you have studied Aristotle's definition of tragedy into the definition. We also presented Aristotle's definition of tragedy. Said he is a noble person who has a noble cause. And according to Clifford Leach, he should have a certain kind of understanding. And I said, doesn't achieve a kind of understanding, it means that he is not a tragic hero in the narrow sense of the word. So, okay, so he may be considered tragic in certain ways, but he is not a perfect tragic hero. Now, sometimes a person who suffers and suffers and suffers for the sake of others and dies without achieving understanding, he emerges as a pathetic character. Okay, i.e. a character that leads you to pity him, not to sympathize with him. Okay? Do you have any questions?
So, Doctor, in this case, do we consider Iago as a psychologically sick person because he projects his evil nature on Othello?
Yes, yes, if you want, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, according to Carl Jung, a person who doesn't recognize his own shadow as an aspect of his own character will project his dark shadow on others. And according to Carl Jung, this leads to what he calls neurosis. So the person who projects his evil nature on others ends up as a neurotic person, i.e. psychologically sick. Okay, so Iago projects his evil nature on Othello. And according to Carl Jung, to achieve individuation, i.e. psychological maturity, man should be aware of both the pleasant and the unpleasant aspects of his personality. Okay, so when man accepts the unpleasant aspects of his personality, he achieves psychological maturity, and in this case he avoids ending up as a neurotic person. Okay, in the rhyme of the ancient mariner, which you may have studied in romantic literature, the mariner ends up as a neurotic person. Okay, so at a certain point in the poem, he becomes neurotic because he projects his evil nature onto the creatures of the universe. At the end of the poem, he realizes his own evil nature. He sees his own shadow reflected at the surface of the sea. So when he sees the dark part of the sea, and beyond this dark side or part of the sea, he sees the beautiful creatures of the sea, he is redeemed. So this means that he has accepted both the pleasant and the unpleasant aspects of his personality. Iago, yes, is evil, and he projects, if you want to read it from a Carl Jung's point of view, his evil nature on Othello. Okay, so in fact, he is the dark man, not Othello. So if you want to classify people into black and white, and if you want to consider black people as evil, as Orientalist literature portrays them, you can say that Iago, from a European point of view, is a black man, because his soul is black. And Othello is a white man because his soul is a white soul. So here the appearance doesn't matter. Okay? So it is the soul. Okay? So he has an evil soul. So that's why you can call him a black man from a European point of view. He is the African man. Is it clear, Hassan?
Appearance versus reality.
Yes, yes, clear. Thank you.
Okay. Not at all. Any more questions?
Can we call Iago a narcissist?
I didn't hear you well.
Can we call
You're
Iago a
asking the question,
narcissist?
Zainab?
According to Freud, can we call him a narcissist? What we have is a narcissism?
Iago?
Yes, correct.
Yes, Iago is selfish. And a narcissistic person is a highly selfish person. So Narcissus, according to Greek myth, is the man who admires his own image that is reflected in the water. So he tries to catch that image or to embrace it. He drowns himself in the water. Right? So narcissism leads to destruction. And Iago is highly individualistic, selfish, egoist, narcissist. Call him what you may. Okay? And his selfishness at the end leads to his own destruction. Okay? So he considers himself superior to Cassio. Okay? So he considers that he is fit to be the lieutenant of Othello. Cassio has nothing to do with soldiership. Okay? All he knows about soldiership is limited to theory, i.e. he lacks experience of war and battles. Okay? So in this case, Othello has a personal goal. Iago has a personal goal. Othello has a collective goal, i.e. a goal that is shared by the community. His goal coincides with the goal of the Venetian dukedom. Venice wants to secure itself, to protect itself against the Muslim threat. So the Muslims, according to the play, are considered heathens, pagans. They are the animals of Christianity. So in this case...
Sorry, doctor?
Yes?
What do you mean by collective goal?
I'm talking about it. I.e. it is something that is shared by all people. Okay? Now, all that
you mean it's a common, right?
Yeah.
It's a common between all people.
Yes, yes. So all the Venetian characters in the play, except Iago, have the common goal of defending the Venetian nation against the Ottoman threat. Okay? Iago is controlled by a personal quest, a personal goal. So he wants to be a lieutenant, and because he has not been appointed lieutenant to Othello, he wants to avenge himself on Othello. So the collective goal is not important to him as much as is the personal goal. Okay? So the personal goal for him is more important. Is it clear?
So, doctor, in this case, Iago is hunting for his motive.
Iago, Othello?
Iago is
Okay,
hunting
Iago.
for his motive.
I didn't hear the question well. Repeat the question.
I said, doctor, in this case, Iago is hunting for his motive. He doesn't have a real cause to hate Othello.
Yes, yes, and I usually mention this. According to Coleridge, Iago is an evil person. He is hunting, okay, for a motive that justifies his hatred of Othello. And according to Coleridge, this is called motiveless malignity, motiveless malignity, i.e. hatred that has no real cause. This is the meaning of motiveless. Okay, so he tries to justify his hatred of Othello on personal grounds. Yes.
Yes, doctor. Sorry. My
Okay.
question here, it will be about jealousy, Othello's jealousy. As you
Yes.
said that Othello has a noble cause, which is really to preserve the sanctity of his marriage. So he is really connected to Christianity. He is a Christian figure.
Yes, he
So,
converted to
yes.
Christian.
Okay. So
Converted to the faith.
concerning his own tragic flaw as that he is jealous, then this jealous causes his destruction. How can we consider here jealousy? Is it a vice or a virtue? One of the vices or the virtues?
No, it is a virtue in this case because I say I am jealous of you,
Mm-hmm.
and I say I am jealous for my wife. So there is a difference between jealous of and jealous for. Jealous,
Though causes his own destruction.
yes. So jealous of معناته يغار من.
Exactly. Yes. We know that.
Jealous for يغار عليها.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's jealous for his wife. So this from a Christian point of view, this is good. So he's jealous for his wife, i.e. he wants to preserve, to defend the honor of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Iago leads him to believe that Desdemona is betraying him with Cassius.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so from a Christian point of view, this religious sacrament has been defiled by both Cassius and Desdemona.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you.
Right? So in this case, Cassius separates the husband and the wife. Cassius separates what God has united.
Exactly.
Okay? So from a Christian point of view, Othello's jealousy for his wife is a good aspect of his character. Okay? It is not an evil part or a sin. Okay?
Yes.
So, and I said, preserving the sanctity of his marriage represents preserving the sanctity of all human relationships.
Yes.
Okay, so according to Shakespeare in the play, all human beings should be brought into a certain kind of unity.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay, not at all. Any more questions? Okay, if you don't have any questions, okay.
Can't we say about Iago that he's a hypocrite because he said all the time that life should be controlled by reason and logic, but in reality he didn't apply that.
Of course he's a hypocrite. His physical appearance, his language. Okay, so his language doesn't reflect his inner self. Okay, so from a Renaissance point of view, there is a difference between reality and appearance in this case. So Othello's appearance, his words, do not reflect his evil nature, i.e. to the people around him. Okay, so to Othello, he seems to be a noble person. But to us, the readers, or the audience who watches the play on stage, Iago is a man who doesn't have an integrity of character. And I said the integrity of character means that the body and the soul reflect each other, according to the philosophy of the Renaissance. Okay? So he doesn't have an integral character, because there is a big difference between his appearance and his reality. Yes, this is a hypocrite. Is it clear?
Yes, doctor, thank you.
Yes, it is clear.
Okay. So let us start discussing the play. Act 1, Scene 1. The action takes place in a street or in one of the streets of Venice. Okay? And the play starts with Rodrigo and Iago. Rodrigo, according to the play, has proposed to Desdemona, but he was not accepted as a husband of Desdemona. Iago, you know him, he is the evil character. Now Iago is telling Rodrigo that Desdemona has eloped with Othello. And as we read the play, we realize that Rodrigo is a wealthy man, and he has given lots of money to Iago so that Iago will help him marry Desdemona. So Iago, as of the beginning of the play, emerges as an evil person. Okay, so I will read a few lines from the beginning of Act 1, Scene 1. Okay, Act 1, Scene 1, Venice, a street. You may skip the first 5 or 6 lines. Rodrigo, thou toldst me, thou didst hold him in thy hate. Okay, so the very first 5 lines do not tell us that Iago has told Rodrigo that Desdemona has eloped with Othello. But we know this later on. Iago says to him, despise me if I don't, i.e. I hold Othello in my hate. Okay, he says, thou toldst me, thou didst hold him in thy hate, i.e. you hate him. Iago says, despise me if I don't. 3 great ones of the city in personal suit to make me his lieutenant, off-capped to him, and by the faith of man I know my price. I am worth no worse a place, but he, as loving his own pride and purposes, evades them with a bombast circumstance, horribly stuffed with epithets of war, none suits my mediators. For certes, says he, I have already chose my officer. And what was he? Forsooth, a great arithmetician. Here he is referring to Cassius. And he refers to him as a great arithmetician, i.e. as a man who knows about the theory of soldiership, but he lacks experience of war. One Michael Cassio, a Florentine, i.e. he comes from Florence, a fellow almost damned in a fair wife, that never set a squadron in the field, nor the division of a battle knows, more than a spinster, unless the bookish theoric, wherein the togged consuls can propose, as masterly as he. Mere prattle without practice is all his soldiership. So from the very beginning, Iago tells us that he hates Othello because Othello has not appointed him as his own lieutenant. I'm not going to read the rest. I will skip 1.5 pages. Iago and Rodrigo go towards Brabantio's house. Brabantio is Desdemona's father. They go there to tell him that his daughter has eloped, E-L-O-P-E-D, with Othello. So it is line, let's say, 83 or 81. Brabantio above at a window. Brabantio, what is the reason of this terrible summons? What is the matter there? Rodrigo, Signor, is all your family within? Iago, are your doors locked? Brabantio, why? Wherefore ask you this? Iago, zounds. Here zounds means by God's blood. Okay? So he is swearing by the blood of Jesus Christ. This is the meaning of zounds. Iago, zounds, sir. Ye are robbed. For shame, put on your gown. Your heart is burst. You have lost half your soul. Even now, very now, an old black ram is stopping your white ewe. This is what I referred to at the beginning of the lecture.
Sorry, doctor.
Yes.
Maybe our time is almost finished.
Okay, I still need some 5 minutes. I will lecture up to 12 because we missed 10 minutes as a result of the electricity that went off. Okay, so at 12 I will dismiss you because I have another class. Don't worry.
Okay,
At 12 I will dismiss the class. Okay? Can you stay with us till 12?
Yes, okay, no problem.
Okay. Okay, Iago, zounds, sir, you are robbed. For shame, put on your gown. Your heart is burst. You have lost half your soul. Even now, very now, an old black ram is stopping your white ewe. The black ram is Othello. Okay? So Iago describes Othello as an old black animal. He is old. Okay? Iago is some 27 years old. Othello is a little bit older, so that's why he uses his age later on to convince Othello that Desdemona is betraying him with the younger Cassio. Okay? So he describes Othello in Orientalist terms. So here Iago's view of Othello is similar to the Orientalist view of all black people. Okay? So here Iago describes Othello as a black animal copulating with a white animal. So he views their marriage as an animalistic relationship. Okay? Iago sees Othello and Desdemona's marriage as an animalistic relationship simply because Iago, the European man, associates black people with animals. Arise, arise, awake the snorting citizens with the bell, or else the devil will make a grand sire of you. Arise, I say. Again, he associates him with the devil, with evil. Okay? Iago associates Othello with the devil, i.e. with evil. Then I will skip a few lines, then I will dismiss the class. It is line 105. 105, 105. Iago, thou, sir, you are one of those that will not serve God if the devil bid you, because we come to do you service, and you think we are ruffians. You'll have your daughter covered with a Barbary horse. You'll have your nephews nigh to you. You'll have coursers for cousins and janets for Germans. Okay, so he describes Othello as a horse, and the children of Othello will be animals lying to their grandfather Brabantio. I will leave the discussion off at this point. Do you have any questions?
No, thanks, doctor. Very clear discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Doctor, I have a question, please.
Okay, go
Desdemona also has a tragic cause, a noble cause, sorry.
on. A noble cause, okay. Yes, because her ideas are similar to the ideas of Othello. She doesn't discriminate between people on the basis of their color. Okay? So, like him, I think her noble cause is to have a united human community.
So we can consider her as a noble.
No, the tragic hero is Othello.
Tragic hero.
The tragic hero is Othello.
Yes, thank you.
Okay?